The second extraordinary summit of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government has concluded in Abuja with the immediate mobilization and deployment of a standby force to restore constitutional governance and order in the Republic of Niger following the military junta on 26 July 2023. Well, recall a few days after the junta on the 30th of July, ECOWAS leaders gathered in the Federal Capital Territory for an emergency summit on restoring constitutional order while demanding deposed President Mohamed Bazoum be reinstated. This ultimatum met stiff resistance from the Nigerian coup leaders headed by Colonel Abdurrahman Omar Chiani, who reportedly insisted on defending their homeland with a decree announcing a new government Tuesday. Latest development says the new Prime Minister Ali Mahman Lamin Zein is to lead a 21-member government with generals from the new military governing council heading the defense and interior ministries. As the 15-nation bloc continues championing dialogue to resolve the impasse in Niger, other mediation talks from some Islamic leaders on the platform of Council of Ulama has not gone unnoticed, all in a bid towards finding a peaceful, lasting solution to the unrest. The second ECOWAS extraordinary meeting rose with a resolve to stand against military government in Niger and force sanctions on the military junta. What will be the next line of action? And will Niger bow to the powers that be? This is our focus on Nigeria today. Welcome to the program. I am your carrier, Clinton. Joining me to discuss Niger fallout of second ECOWAS extraordinary meeting is Jonathan Isaac, the security expert. Welcome to Nigeria today.
Good evening, Nigeria. It's my pleasure always.
So I know you listen carefully to the introduction, and the ECOWAS leaders have just met in Nigeria. Now, what do you make of their deliberation and the final communique?
Well, to a large extent, I think it's complicated. Why is it so? You can be looking for peace and at the same time be dialoguing for war. I agree that if you want peace, expect war. But in this instance, you can be applying kinetic approach and at the same time be expecting an outcome or a good response from the diplomatic approach. Just a few days back now, they sent the delegations to meet with the juntas, and then at the same time, yesterday we saw how the former Emir of Kano, Sanusi, was also there to discuss a way forward. And I just heard, I haven't confirmed it actually from my source, but I heard he briefed His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who happens to also be the chairman of the ECOWAS now at this point. It's very interesting, but I think it is dicey. And also the end, as a result of this communique, you should expect more of a reaction from this the leaders of these juntas, because they won't just fold their hands to wait until will be tell them. So I expect a more diplomatic approach than the combination of the kinetic and the diplomatic approach, which to me will not actually yield any result. You need to learn from history. For any good response, look, I can't be coming to you with my hands at the back with a knife, and I also be pleading with you for you to give me just an apple. You understand? You look at the smiles in my face there, but it's so deceptive. So that is the way, the interpretation of any diplomatic approach to the issues in Niger. So I expect a more resolution. I expect more coordinated approach to the issues and to see how they can come out of this. And you have not even discussed the problem. There is no way you will solve the solution. You bring out a solution, solve a problem without discussing the root causes. Are you in me? So I don't understand what, to an extent, the communique is going to have an effect on the current situations in Niger. As it is now, even despite their meetings, the first and the second today, they have not even said, oh, from what you have said so far, I think you guys are ready now. Because whatever that heated the junta's leaders now, at this point, they should have actually been so fast to make a position. But look at these guys, they're even more calculative. Look at the way and manner they are actually aligning themselves with some international forces. That equally should send signal. And I expect our leaders, especially Nigerian, should be more careful in this, because the target at the surface level is Niger. But when you go deep, the international politics is all just about Nigeria. So we should be careful of how we look at it, to even tell the soldiers to stand by what we have at the end of the day when it comes to financing this war. Of course, you know it's going to come from Nigeria's pocket, because we have the almighty president, and who happens to also to be the chairman of the Ecowas. So we should know that we have an economic crisis in this country now. We have a handful of insecurity, and you look at the borders also that are leading to some of those things. The economic downturn that we have currently cannot even allow us to finance anything war. So we should look at it, and also the effect. If we go look at the relationship we've had with Niger over the years, so yeah. I don't expect any kinetic approach to the issues now, rather than the use of diplomatic experts that we can look at it, people like us as well, to look at issues critically, discuss with these people. You can't be sending military personnel to go and meet military juntas. Are you with me? There are certain things you do when you go to international relations or international politics. There are things you do. You can't look. I can't send a journalist to meet you that you in the form of when you are protesting. I send a more understanding person, because you see, when they come to the table, they're going to discuss. It is we. Forget about this. Just do what you want to do. And he comes back to tell you we have met with them. They still stands their ground. So you cannot be sending military to meet a military, because they're going to tell you, look, the situation is beyond our control. We can't do otherwise.
But right now you're talking about sending military to military. But the first set of the people that were sent to deliberate, to talk, to consult with them, we are not military men.
Oh, well, it's a made-up of force. Let me tell you the truth. You look at their antecedent. Do you understand? If you look at their antecedent, these are people that have equally applied forces in certain areas, in their personal life, in their administrative life, in whatever they have done. So these people, okay, the meeting of the emir with the former emir of Kano State, His Excellency Sanusi Lamido. What was? Have you heard the outcome? Have you heard about the outcome? I think, to me, it will be more responsive. It will be more better to what we had the first time. Watch out and see. And if you bring torchlights to meet with these guys again, they will solve the problems. I'm very confident in saying that he, with his lights, will solve the problems. They know what the problems are. You understand it? So when they talk to them, they understand themselves.
Okay, now I've heard all you raised, the issues raised there. But Niger, a military junta, just formed the government. What does this indicate?
It just sends a signal that a new government has just come. They have appointed a prime minister or whatever. It's just to send you a signal that the government is not playing. The government is standing for us. The government is together. You understand it? They have come to an understanding that, do you see why they are not in haste to begin to actually make appointments in this? Because that is exactly where their weaknesses will come. Once they begin to make appointment, of course, you should know, it comes back to politics, and interest will come in. Why didn't you appoint me? I was the one you used for this. I was the one you used for that. So why didn't you appoint me to first hit this person? You are not picking this person. That is where the issues will come. That is why they were very clever not to make any appointment in the first week. So they waited for the first meeting to see what the ECOWAS leaders are going to do before they begin to make appointment recently. So I felt that what they are doing, and haven't gotten the backup of some of those guys that are ready to hit Nigeria hard at any given opportunity,
is when they begin to make disappointment, because I tell you, they have gotten a lot of confidence that if we do anything, we have a backup. For instance, Russia is there. Look, we've been having coup d'etat since 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. People are not asking why you look at it that it's a coup. Personally, I take it as a resolution. To me, it's a resolution of the African forces. And at the same time, to me, it's a revolution. What you see as a coup is a revolution, in my personal opinion. Why am I saying this? Some of the African countries, if you go to Niger today, it's one of the most poorest countries, if not in the world, in Africa, of course. Let's take it from Africa, because we may not know other situations, statistics of other countries that are living outside Africa, even when you go to Europe. But we come to Africa, I will tell you for free that Niger or Nigerians are suffering a lot. And what leads to this coup are the issues that I expected Ecowas to be discussing. What are the problems? They talked about corruption. They talked about a lot of bad governance. These are the things that leads to this issue.
But Jonathan, I'll have to stop you there. Are there no better ways of doing it rather than a coup? Okay.
Well, I don't actually subscribe to an illegal or unlawful way of taking power. But I feel because of the way and manner African leaders, the characters of African leaders, actually may have motivated this. I tell you for free tonight that a lot of things African leaders do to get power is just beyond the human imagination. Are you hearing me? So I tell you today that if not just coup, what other means are we going to look at? That you have a child that is over 60 years, and such a child cannot cater for his family, cannot take care of his child to free education, cannot take care of a child to ensure that what is due to that child is given to that child. You cannot expect a father at 60, 61. The colonization in Africans is more than 60 years now. So if you begin to look at these issues, and we cannot still cater for our people, our citizens, which is related to children in this instance, you should know that some of these things the children will have to fight back in days to come. So how will the children fight back? They go through the legal means. Unfortunately for us in Africa, the president controls whatever it is in the judiciary. No matter how you want to look at it, no matter how you want to paint it on the media, the president still take decision on what happened at the judiciary, what happened at the legislative. So when we look at these issues critically, what do you expect? What is the way forward? You see, it's like a child that is being gang raped. It's like a child watching his mother being gang raped by criminals, and only that cannot do anything but to be mourning. The only way that child can react is to use of anything possible within him to hit the robbers. African leaders have overtaken, undue advantage of the people. So coup actually has to come to normalize the situation.
Jonathan,
but
I have to stop you there.
I'm not actually advocating for that.
I'll have to stop you there, Jonathan.
I'm not advocating for that. But
No,
I think this is just to open up the eyes of African leaders.
Jonathan,
the Nigerians or any other people, Africans.
Jonathan, just hold it there. I'll have to stop you there. There are other civilized ways.
We haven't seen. We actually haven't seen.
But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it after the break. We'll talk about that after the break.
Implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow under digital economy for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different?
We want to know what they do as occupation. All of these are attributes that are questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today. Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today, and we are looking at the fallout of the second Ecowas extraordinary meeting as regards the Niger coup. We have been joined via Zoom right now by Kunle Fagbemi, He's an international affairs analyst. You're welcome to Nigeria today.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Just like I introduced earlier, the ECOWAS extraordinary meeting the second ECOWAS extraordinary meeting just concluded, and ECOWAS also says no option. One of the resolutions, according to the communique, says no option is taken off the table, including the use of force. What is your thoughts on this?
I want to appreciate the authority of ECOWAS heads of state for holding this second consultation, the second in 10 days, and holding this on the 16th day of the coup. It is very instructive to understand that the intervention of ECOWAS is actually based on the declaration of political principles of the community of 1991. So there is nothing that ECOWAS is doing concerning Republic du Niger that is outside the framework of the ECOWAS. It is part and parcel of the responsibilities of ECOWAS to so intervene, and they've done that. What is very instructive, and many will need to appreciate this, is that the coup of 16 days ago did not just happen overnight and in a vacuum. There was a build-up to this, mindful of the fact that the build-up from the political dynamics of Niger dates back to about 10 years before now. And actually, in about 2 years ago, when the transition that brought President Mohamed Bazoum into office was being consummated, there were some dynamics. And those dynamics actually wanted to lead to a military intervention that would have stopped the handing over process. If that is clearly understood, then a number of comments that are coming from some of us that are commentators will have to be moderated. What ECOWAS authority heads of states did today was to take a look and say, wait a bit, what are the provisions of our statutes? What are the provisions of the protocols, particularly the ECOWAS conflict prevention, management, resolution, peacekeeping, and peace building and security of the 10th of December 1999. And they said the right way to go is to take advantage of all the instruments available and the mechanisms provided for in those instruments of the community. What are they? They include the use of mediation and security council, and you'll discover that emissaries were dispatched, but unfortunately, there are some dynamics of the Nigerian challenge, which is part of the Sahelo-Saharan conflict system, which many need to begin to put in perspective, that has shaped the way and manner the unfolding dynamics in Republic of Niger is occurring. One of it is their political economics. The second has to do with their colonial experience. The third is the one that is often not being discussed openly, and that is the issue of the nature character of Neo-Islam, Islamic terror networking, and the intra-Islam contestation, which is happening there, that is dovetailed into what is called the new eugenics incursion and contestation by superpowers for the landmass called Africa. If that is understood, then you will appreciate that Niger did not just happen in isolation, and that is why when you look from the Atlantic, from the Guinea on the west end to the East Africa, Horn of Africa, all the countries with contiguous borders are now under military junta. If you understand that much, and then you come back to ECOWAS, and you want to situate it and ask the question, how did citizen Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as President Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian state, end up emerging as the chair of the authority of ECOWAS? It came about simply because we had the painful management system of ECOWAS, where a lot of the bills of ECOWAS is being handled from Nigeria. It is a Nigerian state that pays the huge amount that sustain ECOWAS, and the other funding comes from international development partners. So technically speaking, that explains how President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is less than 60 days in office, emerged as a chair of the community, because there was a need for them to ask Nigeria to take up this leadership role, and Nigeria has been doing that. So holding this second summit has allowed us to help modulate all the decisions taken at the first summit, extraordinary summit, in such a way and manner that is reflective of the interests of citizens of ECOWAS. Mind you, ECOWAS by Vision 2020, ECOWAS by Vision 2050 is no longer ECOWAS of governments, it is now ECOWAS of citizens, of the people of West Africa. And this is the main reason why the conversation.
So what should be the next line of action by ECOWAS to ensure that the situation in Niger does not escalate? What should be the next line of action by ECOWAS to ensure that the situation in Niger does not escalate?
They are going to continue constructive engagement, and you realize that there was an official delegation from United States, from 2 countries of NATO in particular, France, United States, and from AU, that were not allowed, alongside with Messrs. General Abdulsalam Abubakar, former head of state commander-in-chief, and Sultan of Sokoto. But the private initiative by the 14th Emir of Kano, Lamido Sanusi, who happens to be the Khalifa of the Tijaniya, was able to meet with the head of the military junta, partly because this was an underground arrangement, that there is no need for you to grandstand. And they had fruitful discussions, and these are some of the things that in the next couple of days, I'm believing that the chair of the authority will have an audience with Emir, or 14th Emir of Kano, Sanusi, and they will review things alongside with all these decisions, and they will make sure that the things will not escalate. The government that is now in power, and we need to start realizing that in Niger, has already constituted a cabinet. There's a prime minister, there are 15 civilians on the cabinet, and 6 military, that makes it 21. Out of all these 21, 4 of them are female women. So they are trying to do what is inclusive and participatory in such a manner that they will be able to get to the next level. It is unfortunate a coup.
Kunle, thank you. And that is where we'll call it today. That's where we'll end the Nigeria to that state of Nigeria today. But we must thank our guests. I must thank Jonathan Isaac, security expert. Thank you so much for your time and your contribution. And also thank you to Kunle Fagbemi, an international affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your time and your contribution. And to my viewer, thank you for always being a part of this. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for watching. I am Victoria Clinton.